Well, hello again. I hope everyone is well today. Um, I'm back. I'm back with a really amazing and exciting life with Abigail James, with an amazing skin expert. And I can't wait to talk to her and introduce you all to all her knowledge and the best advice that you can possibly get for skin. So I'm just going to wait for her to request to join and we can get our conversation going. I'm really excited. I've got all my products here, products that she has suggested for us to actually talk through. So there's going to be some exciting stuff happening. Okay, I can see her here. Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very well. I am. I went out for a walk this morning and I'm feeling hyped and pumped. It's such a beautiful day outside today.
Isn't it? It's lovely today. It's really lovely.
Yeah. So how are you finding all of this? How are you coping with being inside?
Well, I know. So I must admit, for me, I'm actually enjoying having a little bit of a slower pace of doing things. Usually my commute time is kind of, I probably commute for 3 hours a day, an hour and a half in, an hour and a half back. Yeah. And with clients, I'm often hold on a second, my dog's going crazy. Bear with me. Hold on.
That's adorable. Absolutely adorable.
I
Look at
apologize.
that. Just wants to be the center of attention.
Exactly. She's being ignored, so she wants some attention. So yeah, so for me, sometimes I'm not finishing until, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock with clients or actually getting home. So for me, this slower pace is actually quite nice. And I'm obviously, I'm a mum, so having that time to cook and be at home and, do all of those things is, I'm fortunate that I can do that. So,
That's wonderful.
but yeah, crazy times, absolutely crazy times. I'm missing seeing my clients immensely. Some of them have been with me for years. I know one of them a few years ago, she jested that I'm her longest relationship.
Oh,
You know, and
I
it's a friendship that you build up with your clients, and I'm really missing that. Not just treating their skin, but the catch up with them. Hearing about their life stories and stuff. Uh, so yeah, but touch wood, we're
yeah.
all healthy.
I'll,
Yeah, uh, so
is
yeah.
that is your clinic? So your clinic is in central London.
Yeah, so my clinic is in Mayfair in
Okay.
central London. Obviously, doors are closed at the moment. I'm based at, it's a beautiful hotel. It's called the Beaumont Hotel. It's like a 5-star, a little bit 20s, old school style, very glam location. So, I'm kind of in the spa in the basement. But yeah, I've been there for, I don't know, it feels like about 3 years now. And it's great. I love being there. That's such a lovely team as well.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, I mean, I remember the first time I got to see your enlightenment about skin and your knowledge about it. I know I was at Harvey Nichols and gave a talk, and
Oh,
it was one of
yes.
the moments when you were talking, and I was like, okay, she really knows skin, and she's on the same wavelength as me with that, because I think it's so hard to find that relationship or at least that connection with the skin expert, because everyone has a different skin, and I guess finding that that connection is just so important. So when you were talking, I was like, oh, she's amazing, she really knows what she's talking about.
Well, I must admit, when it comes to skin, I still feel like I'm still continuing to learn.
Mhm.
I did my training. I'm just going to shut the window slightly. I think someone's decided to dig up their drive or something. Bear with me. Um, so, I did my training 20 years ago. And knowledge and skills and science and method, it's progressed. It's almost like a different industry now to what it was when I did my training. So I'm very much about, you've got to keep learning as a therapist to stay at the forefront. And, you know, whether it's treating skin conditions, whether it's acne or the aging process, there's so much more out there. And, you know, if you don't keep learning, you I don't know, you're not going to be able to do your clients the best service, basically. So no, I'm still learning. You know, every day I learn from my clients as well. You know, I don't know who's going to come through the door. Maybe there's a skin condition that actually I've not quite seen it present like this before. And we kind of go on a journey, and as much as I'm supporting them and helping them, I'm still learning from everyone else's skin. So no, I absolutely love it. And I must admit, years ago, I wasn't so much into the lasers and those kind of advanced technology. But again, as they've progressed and as my learning has progressed, I'm like, wow, these really have their place as well. You know, and they're not necessarily to be as scared of. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
For me, because I'm in my 20s now, and I think for me, whenever I do sort of pick you know, a skin expert or someone who I can listen to and you know, get their advice on board, I always look at their skin first, because it's so important. You know, you look at their skin, you're like, oh wow, they're glowing, they really know how to take care of their own skin, so you obviously automatically assume that, you know, their advice is going to
She
help
knows a
you.
little bit about what she's doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hey, I've got wrinkles, you know, I've got creases and things, but I'm
I've gotten gray hairs. Don't even get me started. It's hurting my soul.
Hey, can I tell you something? I've just been sent something about grey hairs, because I've got crazy grey hairs coming through, and obviously at the moment we can't get to a hairdresser. I was sent this one.
Ooh.
It's a root touch-up. It doesn't do a constant coverage, but you literally wash your hair, you know, dry it, spray it on, and it covers it until you next wash it. It's kind of cool.
Does it come off on your fingers? Because I've used something very similar before, and sometimes when you're, you know, when you fluff up your hair and you kind of forget it's there.
It does a little bit.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like, oh, have I been digging the garden or something? No, so yes, it does a little bit. But no, for when you've kind of got some crazy greys coming through, that's actually quite a handy, you know, just touch up.
That's good. I mean, I'm just starting to get white hairs here, but it's really underneath. So if I put my hair up in a ponytail, then you start seeing them glisten in the sun. It's like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, no, and this is where you have to then put in lighter highlights to hide the grey bits, the kind of silvery bits. They blend in a little bit with the slightly lighter highlights. That's a trick that my mum taught me.
See, that's a good tip. I need to get on that. I'll probably will have to. Is it a supermarket, or can you order it online, or?
So highlights, you would have to. So this one here, I'm guessing it's a supermarket.
Okay.
I don't know. I was gifted this,
Yeah.
which made me smile, because I'd obviously shared something about my grey hair, and then I immediately, someone's obviously gone, oh my goodness, poor her. We'll send her something. But yes, it's a good kind of, I think I'm going to have that in my kit anyway, you know, even after this is all kind of, you know, because I don't get to go to the hairdressers all the time, and, you know, you've got to wait for some of the greys to come through before you end up doing something with it. Who's this? Have we got Francesca? Embarrassed about your greys.
Beauty hair.
So yeah, this is a great. I wouldn't risk dyeing my own hair during this time. Now is not the time.
I've never dyed my hair, and my problem is I feel like I'm gonna sort of get older, and I'm gonna be forced to, but I don't know. I haven't embraced hair coloring just yet. I'm scared of it.
Well, I must admit, this lockdown, what I have done is I've bleached my. Don't ask me. He turned 18, and he said, "Mum, can you cut me a mullet?" So I've cut a mullet. I don't just do facials now. I obviously now do hair as well. And then he wanted to bleach it blonde. He's obviously been watching The Tiger King. And I thought, right, while we're in this lockdown, if he wants to do something ridiculous, fine, I'm going to let him do it. I'll have to share a photo of his awful hair, but I've actually done that to him.
Please, I would love to see that if you have it.
Yeah, he looks really bad.
I'm losing you a slightly bit.
Right.
The signal isn't too. I don't know if it's me or you.
It might be me. Is that okay?
Slightly, yes. I can see you a bit foggy.
Right, hold on. Let me move slightly. Is that better?
Okay, yeah, I think that should be okay.
Yes.
Probably have.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Well, tell me, tell the audience a little bit more about you and sort of what you're really, good at, and a bit more about your clinic and your book as well, which is really.
Oh yeah. Sure. Okay. So, I'm Abigail James. I've been called a celebrity facialist. I don't know, I've got a clinic in Mayfair. The word celebrity, I'm not so keen on that. All of my clients are just as important as each other, and I treat skins from whether it's someone suffering with acne or whether it's someone getting ready for the red carpet. It's a real broad spectrum of the kind of people that I see in my clinic. I have a couple of team members that work alongside me that I've mentored, and they're so talented as well, and they just bring so much to the team. I wrote my first book, published I think 2 years ago now. It's called Love Your Skin. It's about well-being. I did my yoga teacher training as well, not to teach, but just for personal growth. I absolutely love it. So, my philosophy, as much as I am about the technology and the good skincare and the peels and everything else, I'm all about, actually, we really do need to address ourselves, our health from that well-being point of view. It really does come twofold. Francesca.
That's lovely.
Is Francesca saying that I've treated her?
So, yes. So she said, I can confirm, as a non-VIP, I was certainly treated like one by Abigail. That's lovely.
Amazing. Amazing. That's nice to hear. Cool. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'm a mother of 3. My kid is, oh no, don't, they're not little. They're not cute. They're not cute whatsoever. I've got a 14-year-old who is 6 foot and butch. Then I've got an 18-year-old who I've just bleached his hair, and he looks like a wrong-un. And then I've got a 21-year-old daughter. They are all adorable. I love them all to pieces. And but yeah, I'm obviously a juggling working mum as well as
a career woman, and beautiful to see that. They're encouraging.
Yeah. Oh, say that again, sorry.
They're encouraging as well to have so many things going at once and just being so successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, quite a long journey to get to kind of where I am at the moment. I've been a single mum. I now have a gorgeous partner, but for the majority of my work journey, I was a single mum. And some ways I think I found that easier, because you're not having to deal with someone else. But in other ways, it kind of adds to the juggling that you have to do. So no, hey, we're all on so many different journeys, and I feel like I've barely started. So much I still want to do and achieve, and lots of exciting things in the plan. So yeah.
Amazing. And how did you start in skin? What was sort of your initial starting point for your career?
Okay, so I actually started off in the food industry. So yeah, my family's business is frozen food, or it was frozen food. And I was always told, you're coming into the family business. So that's what I did.
Mm.
And I learned business, and actually that's kind of where the interest in well-being and food actually stemmed from. But I got married very young. I was 22, and you know, my family was quite traditional. So I had my daughter when I was 23, and it was very much, your career is now over.
Mm.
uh, so I was at home, a new wife, a new mum. I had awful postnatal depression, so I had to do something. And one of my best friends at the time, she was a beauty therapist, and she
Mm.
used to come round, and whether it was painting my nails or I don't know, do some kind of treatment on me, and I just thought I really love what she does. So I ended up going to night school 2 nights a week for 2 years to get my MVQ2 in beauty therapy. So that was everything from tanning, nails, you name it. I did
Nice.
all of it. Um, and then I had to go full time for a year to get my MBQ3. And at that time, I then got 2 young children. Um, you know, and knock it forward a few years, I obviously ended up with a single mum, and I got 3 kids. And I just kept learning and working part time in salons, or I started doing mobile treatments,
Oh,
going to
wow.
people's houses. Um, yeah, and that's kind of where it progressed from, really, and where it's grown. So, but that was obviously, I don't know, it's obviously been quite a long journey. That's many years ago now.
Mm.
But at the time, I wasn't living in London. I was living out of London and occasionally commuting in. And it got to a point where I had to make the decision of, I either stop what we're doing, or kids, we've got to move. So we upped sticks and moved to London, and I just thought, let's give it a go. Let's see where this goes. The kids were furious with me, um, but you know, they now couldn't imagine not being in and around London. You know, if the thought of going back, they're like, no way, we love it down here.
Where did you move from? Like, how far was the distance that you moved?
Okay, so Cotswolds,
Oh, okay.
so very rural, yeah,
Yeah.
open fields. You know, my most of my family is still there,
Mm.
so it's kind of 2.5 hour, 3 hours, dependent on traffic to get back. So you know, a total life change. Um, and I must admit, when I turned up in London, I mean, I'm smiling because at the time, even though I was growing a career, I was still on benefits.
Mm.
My financial situation was quite horrific, and I turned up in. I was driving a van, and a friend was driving a van with a sheep trailer behind it, with all of our stuff on. And the
Wow.
neighbours must have thought, who the hell is this rocking up in London? Who's moved in next door? Um,
That's
so yeah,
journey.
yeah. So no, it's been a journey, and like I said, still lots and lots of things in the plan. So yeah.
But look at now, you're doing amazing, and all that really counts. That journey has brought you to where you are now.
So I'm
Fantastic.
I'm just I'm a huge believer everything happens for a reason. You know,
Mm.
I think many of us experience hardship or ill health or life events, and I kind of think that as much as they can be really difficult to deal with at the time while you're going through them, um, I try and be philosophical, and this is actually where the yoga training came in. That I feel everything happens for a reason, and I know often you think, oh my goodness, I really don't need this reason. um,
I believe in that too, and I completely agree with you.
yeah. So whether it's a client who's walking through my clinic door, if they're going through some life upheaval, it's not that I'm going to suddenly counsel them, but it just allows me a little bit more empathy and understanding for what might be going on in their life. Um, yeah. So, you know, but hey, we've all got different journeys.
Sure. And you're inspiring me because I have listened to a friend recently and she's been doing yoga quite a fair bit. And she's always telling me, do it. It's so amazing. And it really helps you to just lower that life expectation a little bit, just ground you. And I guess it all takes different people to kind of tell you the same thing before you start it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I must admit, the first couple of times I did yoga, I was like, I don't get this. You know, why aren't I sweating? Why, you know, I've given up an hour of my time. I should be feeling as if I'm getting something else out of this. So it took me years. I think I went to my first yoga class and then didn't go again for, I don't know, a good few years. I'm just going to move rooms again. I think my neighbour has obviously started to. There we go. That's quieter.
Very quiet.
That's much quieter.
Oh, it's a whole thing. Yeah, everyone's doing their garden, everyone's doing their everything. So yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, and I think literally all the neighbours around here, they've suddenly decided to start, whether it's mowing lawn or knocking down walls or something. So I apologise for the noise.
You're absolutely fine. So I actually dug out some products from my beauty drawer. Now, I get a ton of stuff sent to me, and sometimes because I have such sensitive skin, I try to be very careful with how much I put on and test just to make sure that my skin doesn't break out. And sometimes it reacts, and sometimes I find a product that's actually pretty well.
Sure.
So from your suggestions, I have a box of them here. So if you want to just tell us sort of what kind of products work for this kind of season, and maybe this, I mean, I've read that stress from being like your routine being changed and things in your life being swapped around a little bit can affect the way your skin feels and reacts to your environment. I certainly have felt that. But I'll let you sort of go ahead and tell everyone what you think and what kind
Sure. Okay, so well, firstly, yes, stress can play a huge part on what the skin is doing. I think actually that some of us are falling into different camps of how that stress is playing out. It might be we're stressed because we're actually trying to work from home, or key workers, you know, and that stress is that. Whereas someone else might have actually lost their income. So they're all forms of stress. Or someone else might be suddenly juggling having children at home constantly that they're trying to homeschool. So even though I think we're all in different situations, and I think that's really clear that we are, stress is a big part, and I think there's a lot of uncertainty of how this is going to unfold as well. So stress, when we're stressed, we are giving off different hormones. One of the key stress hormones is cortisol. Cortisol does actually, it can cause inflammation, which might be bringing about more sensitivity in the skin. It might be bringing about more breakouts. But also fundamentally from an aging point of view, it does impact on our collagen production. It actually degenerates collagen. So stress impacts on so much when we're talking about skin. If we kind of go for, I mean, you said that your skin can be sensitive. I think, yeah.
it's sort of combined. That's a skin type that most people have, combined skin, and it's very hard sometimes to balance it out. And also, and not only the stress level of like environmentally changing and what you're doing, but also spring. I find that whenever a bit of warmth comes into the weather, I need to swap around my moisturizers. I need to change my SPF. So I'm always doing like a little swap in products between seasons anyway. But I'm finding that the products that I used before, they don't work the same now for some reason. So I don't know, maybe.
Okay, interesting. Well, I suppose the key thing is during this time is to maintain a routine.
Yes.
Right. I know there are so many online facials, and there's often I think from what I'm kind of hearing from people, almost trying to overdo things because we have got more time on our hands. So suddenly they go, oh, I'll do another facial tonight, or oh, I'll try a different mask, or I'll just try this acid, or and suddenly you're doing way too much to your skin that you weren't before.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're kind of talking about sensitivities or even breakouts, there's a real risk of overdoing things, and playing with new products. So uh, the trick is not to be overdoing things. Keep to your simple cleansing morning
Yeah.
and night. A weekly facial is great, absolutely. If you are prone to sensitivity, I wouldn't be over massaging your skin. I know a lot of my tutorials on YouTube, they are about face massage, and they're quite active. They're really quite active, and they'll get the blood flow going. And if you're prone to sensitivity, it might be a little bit too much for the skin. Don't overdo the face masks. That's a key thing. I don't. Have you trying any new face masks at the moment?
I've tried. So I did a facial last night, and the reason why my skin feels very dry. So I thought, let's do a little hydration. So I didn't do any exfoliating. I just washed my face normally, and then I applied a sheet mask.
Yeah.
I let the serum just cool off onto the skin. I didn't wash it off, and just applied my normal moisturizer. And I kind of did the face roller on the actual sheet mask, just so that the serum can sort of be absorbed into the skin. But that's, I mean, I don't really do much, and if I do weekly, I might do a scrub mask.
Yeah.
um but it's, my skin gets flaky very, very easily. I'm assuming maybe I'm overdoing it, maybe I'm doing it, or maybe it's harsh. So
Possibly. Because ideally, if we're kind of talking about the skin being a bit flaky, then that either indicates you're over exfoliating. I don't know if you've got any acids in your routine. I don't know.
I don't.
No. So it might indicate that the cell turnover is a little bit overstimulated. But have you got any retinols in your routine?
No, I don't. The only reason why I don't want to introduce retinol is because I don't know much about it, and I feel like I have to educate myself and see how I can use the right product and for when. I know
Okay,
you mix certain. If you use retinol, I know you can't mix hyaluronic acid, I think.
you can.
You,
Right, I'm going to talk about retinols in a moment then, okay?
yeah,
So with regards to dryness or flakiness on the skin, the
mm,
barrier of the skin is obviously irritated, because ideally we want those cells and the surface to be kind of sitting nice and flat, really, unless you're going through a retinol or a peels or something like that in your routine. So my gut feeling is there's something in the products that you're using that your skin isn't necessarily liking. So
right.
I don't know whether any of the people watching this have experienced that, whether it's a sensitivity or a bit of flakiness or something to products that they're using. I would take the routine back. It needs stripping back slightly. And the key is starting with cleansing,
Mm,
not going for the harsh washes. You need to be, I think CeraVe is quite a nice range if you want to keep things really simple. There's a fabulous range that I love. I use it in my treatments. It's called Dermaviduals.
wow.
If someone's barrier function is kind of shot to pieces, that is my go-to for restoring barrier function.
So
Um,
speaking of washes, so the one that I've sort of felt that works a little bit is this one.
Yeah, Galenay. I like that range. So they're fabulous because they're all about encouraging a healthy microbiome on the surface of the skin, and that is so crucial. That again, that's kind of almost new knowledge over the past handful of years that has become more commonly known, that actually, as much as we've got bacteria in our guts that we need to balance, we also have that on the surface of our skin, and actually the two are really closely connected. So
Mm-hmm.
Galenay as a range, topical probiotics, are great for restoring and actually supporting that barrier function. So that is one that I approve of. So yes,
That's good. I
continue with that.
love how light it is, because I find with washing your skin, sometimes they can be a little too sticky, or when you actually pat your skin dry, your skin gets dry and it's not moisturized from washing it, which is
Yeah.
really for me. So this one doesn't get my skin feeling that sticky and dry.
If you have that feeling after cleansing, then the chances are it's the wrong kind of cleanser for your skin. Yeah. And I do find that you can be creating skin conditions that you don't normally have by incorrect cleansing. So the cleansing part is essential.
That's
Okay. Yeah.
good. Amazing.
Retinol.
Yes.
Yes. So
I've got one here. Let's see.
what have you got?
I don't actually have retinol. Where is the retinol? Oh, I don't have one. I think I have a retinol eye cream.
Okay. Yep.
Mm,
Right.
that, I don't know if you approve of this.
Interestingly, they've sent me some products.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's why I thought I'd bring it on here and see what you.
yes. It's right. I'm a fan of retinol. They are
Yes.
using, I think, from memory, it's retinol palmitate.
Right.
That's kind of like the lowest level. I don't know whether it says on the back of there, but they're also putting retinol in their cleanser. I
Ooh.
don't feel that there's any benefit whatsoever in putting a retinol in a cleanser. It's a waste of the ingredient. It kind of proves it's not really doing much, because basically your cleansers you're washing off. Retinol you want to sit on the skin and absorb. And I must admit, I think there's quite a bit of synthetic fragrance in that one, which
Yes, I've always found that with Pixie. I've always found that with Pixie, and I try not to use much of it um, because of that. I mean, I like a product that smells good, but sometimes when you feel it, it's too much.
yeah,
Well, I guess
there's
definitely
there's
not.
no benefit to skin of synthetic fragrances. There's not.
No.
It's purely the experience of, ooh, that smells nice, and I'll put it on my skin. I must admit, my daughter is using Pixie and she's loving it. But you know, me personally, as a skin expert, I
Mm.
don't think we need synthetic fragrance added, and I don't think we need retinols in cleansers.
Okay.
Basically, okay.
So, not approved.
I'm sorry, I've just totally
It's amazing.
cut that product. I
No, no,
apologize.
no. Oh no, because I mean, listen, I've not started using it. I thought I would bring it up because it has retinol in it, and they do have a new retinol range. I think you probably got the same one with all of them, and there's
They use a lot of packaging, don't they?
they do. They do. My trouble with Pixie is I don't know who's sending me the package from PR, and I'm finding that they have my old address, and I've moved into a new house.
Okay.
Case the packages like 20 miles.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like hopping in my car trying to get the package, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But they are a lovely brand when it is working with them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So let me tell you about retinols. Even if you haven't got one there, to be honest, I could go on for the next couple of hours about retinols. I'll try and keep it short. So basically, a retinol is a vitamin A derivative. It absorbs into the skin and it speeds cell turnover. That's fundamentally what it's doing, which is why it's so good for aging, pigment, acne. They're basically kind of all the skin issues retinol is good for. However, there are many different forms of retinol. Retinol palmitate, which is probably in the one that you've just mentioned, that's kind of like the lightest of light version and doesn't really do that much. So you'd need a high percentage of that for it to be any good. You've got retinol, you've got retinoic acid, then you've got your prescription levels, but basically it has to, a retinol, when you apply it to the skin, for the skin to be able to utilize it, it has to transfer chemically twice to the form that can be used within the skin. So that's where your medical one it's tretinoic acid absorbed straight in, and that's the form that the skin uses, and that what makes it quite aggressive. Whereas retinol, I think it has to transfer twice to what it's needed as. So yeah, it's an absolute minefield, and this is where you'll find some products, for example, maybe like The Ordinary, who might say that their percentages retinol might be, I'm guessing, 5%, but then actually a professional retinol of 0.5%, and you think, hold on, I don't understand the percentages of that. It's because the high street one is the really light version, whereas the professional one is the active version. Because if you put a 5% of the really active, your face would fall off. So,
Wow, yeah.
So it is a minefield. You have to allow, when you first start using a retinol, you have to edge it in slowly. So start with once every 3 nights, because a true retinol will take 3 days to process within the skin. Okay. There's no tingle with retinol. So this is where a lot of people say, oh, I'm sensitive to retinol, because they go, this feels lovely, and they apply it every night for the week, and then they give themselves a skin peel, by the 5th day, and it comes up sensitive. So if you start once every 3 nights, and then after a week or so, once every 2 nights, and then increase it over a period of, say, 3 weeks, to then using it every night. Okay. Yeah. Wow. And then once you might be fine on that level of retinol, but then some of my clients, we might then start on a 0.5 proper retinol and then increase it to a 1% once they've the skin has adjusted to that, and then we increase it. But if you are using a retinol, it's just the law that you've got to be using SPF. You've just got to be, because you've got baby cells closer to the surface of the skin. You're going to be open to sun damage and cell damage. So if you're using a retinol, you've got to be using an SPF.
So speaking of SPF, I've got 3. Let's see if you're going to approve any of them.
Is this a game? Does Abigail approve?
Yeah, I mean, we can make this a thing.
Yes.
So I have the Ren. I mean, they're small. They're for your bag. Clean Skin, and it's a 30. It's mineral. It's a 30 SPF.
So Abigail approves of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing. Amazing. It's because it's mineral and it has.
Yeah.
Okay, great. One of the things that I did read was I can't remember what it's called, and I can't see it here. Oh gosh. I'm going to embarrass myself now because I can't remember what it's called. Zinc oxide. There we go.
Yeah. The 2 mineral SPFs are zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Those are the 2 common ones. One of them, I think, titanium dioxide. I'm going to say this the wrong way around, which is better for an acne-prone skin. It depends how it's formulated. But those are the 2 common. Sometimes a brand might just use one. Okay. Or the other, or a combination of both of them.
I understand. So this one, I'm assuming, has that?
Yes.
And I know that I've tried this before, and it's be pretty good.
Yeah. So again, I haven't tried that particular one. Is it a chemical, or is it a mineral SPF?
It doesn't say mineral, so I'm assuming it's a chemical.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
But it does have zinc oxide, and it is a 30 SPF.
Okay, well, it might be a blended. There might be some chemical and some mineral, or it might be a mineral. I don't know that particular one. A range called Osmosis have a really nice mineral SPF.
Okay.
Clinique, I think it's City Block or something. They've got a really nice mineral SPF as well.
I do sometimes, whenever my skin, if I do, let's say, a scrub at night and I know that I might be sitting out in the sun, I use this, the Talgo Post Peeling Marine SPF.
Okay, not one I know.
It's 50 plus SPF, so it's quite
full on.
Yeah, quite full on, but
yeah.
I think that it doesn't, my skin, I usually get sunburn here and here, It doesn't go red, so this tends to work for me.
Yeah, okay. The thing I would say about, let's say, the chemical SPFs,
Mhm.
the difference from a 30 to a 50, the amount of chemical that they have to put in to lift it from a 30 to a 50 is immense. So I must admit, I know some of the 50s are great, but my preference, it depends on its formula. You are fine with a 30, and I'd rather you reapplied it more regularly. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I know that there's a new sort of technology SPF by Decree. I don't know if you are aware with that brand, but they've created a mist um, SPF, which
Okay.
allows you to sort of mist it across quite easily, and you can reapply it. And I think it is a 30, and it's sort of the same functionality where you have to reapply it every
Yeah.
so often. Um, so you can
Interesting.
makeup. So yeah, you don't have to remove it, and yeah.
That is one of the problems with SPF, because as much as you might put it underneath your makeup in the morning, then you might put your foundation on. At some point, if you're out and about, you do need to reapply it to maintain the level of SPF that we all want. And that is a tricky one, to be honest, in our normal everyday kind of working lives. If we want to go and sit outside at lunchtime or something, it's different when we're on holiday, because often we are reapplying SPF anyway. So no, I can imagine that a facial spray SPF is really handy.
Yeah, yeah. And when I saw it and I sort of tested it out, it's actually quite light, and it almost feels like it's a blend between a face mist and the smell of like you're going to the beach because it's SPF. So it's a good combo. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I wish I had it with me. I don't have one.
The cosmetics used to have an amazing spray, Mineral 30, but
Mhm.
there was some tweak in the availability of ingredients, and they had to withdraw it. And I think they've just reformulated a 50, but I don't know whether it's still a spray. But I've got lots of my clients that kind of, they were trying to bulk buy it before it all went out of stock.
So, what's the difference between retinol and hyaluronic acid?
Okay, so
Mhm.
they're very different ingredients. Hyaluronic acid, it's not actually an acid, okay? It's, we have it naturally in our body. So even though it sounds sciencey, it is something that our bodies can quite easily recognize. Um, it has the ability to hold 1,000 times its weight in moisture.
Oh,
So if you imagine one molecule and 1,000 times that weight, that's a lot of moisture, but it's got to be able to pull that moisture from somewhere. So whether that is from our skin or the environment, this is where I personally like a hydrating toner before putting hyaluronics on. And
mhm.
also, we know that we need to be drinking loads of water anyway, but the more water that we do drink, the almost the better our hyaluronics are going to be able to function as well. So we almost need to hydrate the hyaluronic, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, some hyaluronics can be irritating, and it depends on the molecule size. So you might see on packs, I don't know what it says on that one that you said.
So it says 2%. It's 2% hyaluronic acid to serum.
Okay, so usually the kind of weight, it's usually between, I think, 80 and 100, or 80, I can't remember the exact science, or kind of 80 and 10,000, I can't remember. Um, but if it's too fine a molecule, it can be irritating. If it's too fat a molecule, it doesn't absorb enough. So there's kind of like a sweet spot. You can Google it actually.
Yeah.
But some of the brands would do a multi-molecular weight. So then it's got kind of a combination of different weights of hyaluronic.
Amazing.
Um,
This is so this serum is from the Skin Chemist, London.
okay.
I'm too sure if you're familiar with it, and it's quite
No.
The range, they have a range of different serums and they kind of do everything differently. And the one that I'm currently using is a caviar. It's a 5% caviar serum and it's actually, I like it. And it has like two parts in it. It has like an oily part and a liquid and you kind of have to shake it before you use it. And it's
Okay.
good. It feels good on the skin. Now, I don't know how good it's for my skin, but it's all about trial and error, I guess.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know what the oil part of that is.
See,
Yeah.
that's something that I think might be written on the package, and I don't have it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a little search for that.
Okay.
But what would be the best? What would be the best sort of percentage of that?
It would. I think it almost depends on how the brand is formulated. I'm almost tempted to take you back into my bathroom to show you some of the products that I've got. Shall I?
I would love that. That would
Okay.
be amazing. Absolutely.
Do this. Hold on. Okay. So, I hope the neighbours have stopped banging around now. Right. So, let me.
Oh
So
wow.
this is
Beautiful.
part of my cabinet. There's one or two products in there. So we've got cosmetics. They have a product called Surge, and that is their hyaluronic serum. It doesn't give a percentage on here. Often those information, it's on the box rather than the actual pack. But that is a particularly nice one. It doesn't feel tacky. I know certain hyaluronics can feel tacky, and I think that's kind of when the molecular weight must be a bit too high and it's not absorbing as well as it could do. That one doesn't. One of my other favourite serums, this isn't a pure hyaluronic, IS Clinical Hydrocool. Have you tried that?
I remember trying a very small sample of it, but
Okay.
I'm not really intrigued that I have never put that into my beauty routine. So
Okay, so it's also got B vitamins in there. I think there's some copper peptide, but that's got a real wow to it. And I find if you're prone to spots, because of some of the other ingredients in there, that is a particularly good one for that type of skin.
amazing.
What else have we got in here? Oh, this is another great one. So, Allies of Skin. Don't know whether you've tried that. So this is a triple hyaluronic. It's got other antioxidants and peptides in as well, which is great, but that feels lovely and absorbs really nicely on the skin. I sometimes in the evening will actually use that as a hydrator instead of a night cream, and put that over the top of a serum.
Oh wow.
What else? That was probably, oh no, okay, I've forgotten a really interesting one. Right. Dermaviduals, which is one of the brands I mentioned earlier. This is a liposomal hyaluronic serum. So when I say liposomal, if you imagine our molecule of hyaluronic, it's almost been encased in like an oil film, a liposome. So all of those molecules in there, they can then actually get into the skin where it's best utilized. So that type of hyaluronic technology is amazing. So their delivery system on that is incredible. So that's another one that I'm always recommending.
That's amazing. I've never. It's I guess you're enlightening me with new things because I'm only so aware of products that I'm sort of sent over, and I think just speak to a specialist, and then you can be like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. What my passion is with the professional products, the products that are really going to be doing something, and that's kind of as much as I've got some high street ranges here that I play with. On my clients, I'm focusing on the professional. It is about the delivery systems, and not just about having an ingredient in a product. It's how the whole thing is formulated. Yeah, I'm just looking around my bathroom to see what else. I can show you some of my favourite retinols, actually.
Yeah. Right, let's do.
Right,
And
let's
what
go
I'll
back.
do for everyone that's watching or still I'm going to make a list of everything that you've mentioned, so people can
Okay,
actually,
cool.
potentially want to buy them if they want to. Yeah.
Right. Okay, what have we got? So, cosmetics. They have such a range of retinols. So I've got one here. It's called Refine Plus. I'm just trying to think what else I've got in my cupboard specifically. But they literally have a retinol for the most sensitive skin and the most acne prone or thick age skin and everything in between. Their retinols are amazing. And again, they've got the most unique blending method with their retinols. They really stand out. We've also got, I've got a Dr. Dennis Gross,
I tried
which
that
is,
things, but I've never tried that before.
okay. Yeah, I'm really liking his products. So that is a ferulicum retinol. Retinol, ideally, I like to keep it for nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
I've also got an Oskia
Okay.
retinoid sleep serum. So they've got a level 1 and a level 2. So this is the level 2, which is obviously going to be slightly stronger. What else? Oh, hold on. There's also an Allies of Skin. That's a retinol and peptide. They call it an overnight mask. It kind of is a mask, but it's like a lightweight cream, so it's not too heavy on the skin as well.
Put it on, and you don't need to apply anything on top.
Nope,
Just go to sleep.
that's kind of it. And then again, the IS Clinical, they've got a super serum and they've got a pro heal. Both of those are incredible retinols. So yeah, I've got a retinol for every possible skin condition.
Which is, amazing because everyone has such different skin, and I guess it's all about trial and error. And I mean, I've learned that the hard way. I have acne years and years ago, but I've tried to improve my skin with just creating a balance for it and knowing what I put on my skin. I'm learning, like you said earlier in the beginning. It's all
it is a learning process, and I think the skin, we need to be aware of, it is the largest organ of the body.
Yeah.
It's so immensely clever. If you kind of think skin cells on roughly a 4 to 6 weekly cycle, they're fully renewing themselves. So that's so clever that it can do that. And there's so much from, like, we kind of, when we first were talking about stress levels, there's so much that impacts on what we're visibly seeing. It's not just the external. So I've kind of found that food, lifestyle, hormones, stress, all of those definitely impact, when the skin's playing up. It's like, at the moment I'm doing a lot of online skin consultations, and it's not just a case of going through, okay, what products are you using? I need to kind of unpick the layers. What's going on in your life? What the stress, lifestyle, food, family history. It's such a bigger picture than, okay, let's just focus on the products. It's a different thing.
That's amazing. Well, honestly, thank you so much for joining and enlightening everyone with your amazing
I
knowledge.
apologize for taking you kind of backwards and forwards around the house as well. I apologize.
You're fine. You're absolutely fine. I guess we're all at home now, so there will be a point where you're gonna have to do that. I've just locked myself in my bedroom, so
Well done.
no distractions here. But what I'm going to do is I will try to make a list of all the products that you sort of recommended.
Sure.
And I'll make sure to post it a bit later for everyone to see as well. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing to have you and so insightful. And hopefully, I mean, we can do it again soon if you would like to sort of touch on other stuff.
I love talking skin and stuff, so always happy to chat.
Amazing. All right. Well, it was lovely to see you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and enjoy the sun.
Thank you, and you. Okay, take care.
Bye.
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 Bye.